Hello and welcome to episode 51 of the Made by Mumino podcast. My name is Catherine and this is my little corner of the internet to talk about knitting, a little bit of spinning, a little bit of weaving, but mostly knitting, but definitely lots of yarn. So welcome. A huge welcome to you if you're new here and a very warm welcome back if you've been here before. As usual, I put chapters and things in, so if there's any bit that you're not interested in, please feel free to skip over. Also, anything that I talk about is linked down below in the show notes, but if you have any questions, just comment down below. And yeah, so welcome. It's a cold day today. The snow has gone. There would have been some footage of some beautiful snow at the start of the episode, but yeah, the snow is gone now, but it's still quite cold, and we've been getting a lot of frost and things. So I've got a nice warm cup of tea and I'm wearing a nice warm snuggly jumper. You can find me on social media as Mumino or Made by Mumino, but again, all of the links are down below for all of that. So yes, let's get started. So as usual, I'm filming in Mönchengladbach in Germany. I'm originally from Wales in the UK, and I tend to go back there as often as I can, but not as often as I would like. But I live here in Mönchengladbach permanently with my partner, who's from this area, although he's Greek. It's a long story, but anyway. But yes, I live in Germany and I tend to try and make a little tour of somewhere sort of near me, a little yarn shop or something like that at the end of each episode. And today we're at my local yarn shop again, and having a look to see what they've got for the new season. And also at the end of the episode, please feel free to join me for a nice snowy walk through a local schloss as well. The first thing to talk to you about today is this yarn. If you watched the last episode, you will have already seen this. This is a beautiful, beautiful yarn dyed up by the marvellous Ross at the WIP Yarn Company on one of his non-superwash bases. And this particular base is called Cast-ons, which is gorgeous. It's 50% Falkland Merino, 25% Gotland, 25% Corriedale, and you get 650 metres per 100 grams. And it works really well, held by itself or held double. So as you will have seen in the last episode, my partner commissioned this from Ross, who dyed up my own special colourway. It's called the Cat's Pyjamas. So as I said before, my name's Catherine, but my friends and my partner tend to call me Cat. And yeah, it's just stunning, absolutely stunning. So Ross contacted me and asked me if I would mind if it went on sort of general sale. So he's going to be offering it as a dye-to-order, that's it, a dye-to-order colour. And it should be available later on today on his website. But how gorgeous is that? So I'll put a link to it or to his page down below, to his website. But yeah, beautiful and available for you if you would like some of this gorgeous colourway as well. Haven't decided what to knit with this yet. I'm going to sit and let it percolate for a while. But I'm thinking something held double, maybe with a slight texture in it, but not too much, because I really want the colour of this yarn to pop and do all of the work. So yeah, absolutely beautiful, very, very soft, and a very special yarn that you can get your hands on too if you wish. Let's start with what I'm wearing today. This is the Hunaya from Anina Uti, and it's got this lovely textured bobble section, followed by a little cable section, followed by this lacework detail on the yoke. I like to wear this with a light coloured t-shirt underneath it because it's such a dark colour. It just shows the details a bit more, a bit more, because it's got that sort of lighter background behind it. But I did this as a test knit for Anina. When did I do this? I think it was last spring. But I've done mine in quite a warm yarn. I know a lot of the other testers used more lightweight yarns, but I used woolly knit cones held double, and I used two different colours held together. So one was this sort of dark navy blue called Blue John Nep, which has got little neps in it, surprisingly. And the other colour that I held it with was Pine Forest Green. So I've ended up with this, I think, a really nice sort of petrol-y sort of colour that just looks a bit different. Woolly knit is great for that kind of thing. You can really nicely create some sort of marl effect, or just change the colour up totally by holding two contrasting or two toning colours together, and it just works really, really well. I think it's a really good price point, woolly knits. It comes in 500-gram cones for this type of yarn. And for my size, which I knit the 4th size, I use just over 1 cone altogether. So it's just it's a really good workhorse yarn. It's not the softest yarn in the world. If you've ever used Holst, Holst Super Soft, it's a little bit like that. There's a little bit of spinning oil in it. It's quite sort of thin when it comes off the cone, but I think it's really important to do like a little gauge swatch or something to just block it, because it does bloom a lot. So the tendons sort of, when I'm knitting with it, I want to go down a needle size because it feels like I'm getting too thin a fabric. But persevere and stick with the recommended needle size, or don't be tempted to go down anyway, just because it blooms a lot when it's after it's blocked, and you'll end up with a really tight, dense fabric, unless that's what you're going for. But yeah, I knitted this to pattern. It's got lovely folded hem details. It's slightly cropped, but there's no reason why you couldn't make it a bit longer and do it with longer sleeves or a ribbing or whatever. But I quite like this folded hem. I think it looks really neat and tidy. So yeah, it's a nice easy jumper to wear and not too hot, even though it's a very sort of warm woolly wool. I've got the usual problem that I have with all round yoke sweaters. I end up with too much fabric here just because I'm fuller here than I am here. I do take the upper bust measurement, but I still find that happens. I think it's just, I've got very narrow shoulders compared to the rest of me, so I think it's just something I have to live with. But yeah, this used a 3.5mm needle, which is a US 4, and it was a really enjoyable knit because you've got these different things going on in the yoke section. It really held my interest nicely, and Anina's patterns are always really well written. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing today. If you watched my last episode, you'll know that I've started a little cable mal, and oh my goodness, I don't know what I was thinking. I think I said in the episode as well that it started on the 6th of January and runs until the end of April. Any finished object with cables can be entered, and all the details of how to do that are down below. But on social media and on Ravelry, I wrote the 6th of February everywhere. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking January, but wrote February. I don't know why. Maybe it's just I was trying to get through the year. I don't know. But anyway, so we've already had quite a few entries, which is fantastic. You can see them on Ravelry, and also using the hashtag MBMCableMal26. It's just a really good excuse to maybe dig out some old cable projects that need finishing, or try cables for the first time. If that's you, or you want some inspiration, I've made a little bundle of simple cable projects on my Ravelry group, and there's also a link to that down below as well, if you want a bit of inspiration or whatever. But I was feeling inspired, so I cast on some gloves. Now, I was going to make myself some leg warmers, and I'm still going to do that. I just wanted some gloves. We went out, in fact, the walk that you're going to see at the end of this, and I've suddenly realised I don't have any gloves. I have lots of hand warmers and mittens and things, but I don't have any gloves. I have quite short fingers and quite small hands, and I don't really like the feeling of wearing gloves. However, sometimes it's just really cold. So I knit myself some cable gloves, and I'm really happy with them. I will show you the yarn in a minute, but this is a free pattern by Julia Muller. She's no longer designing, I don't think, so there's no support or anything for her patterns, but she made her complete catalogue free, which is so generous of her. But yeah, it's got a nice little cable, bit of knot work there. I've made these a little bit shorter. The ribbing was supposed to be about that long, but I want to be able to use my watch and things when I'm wearing them, so I made them a little bit shorter. And yeah, don't be daunted by gloves. When you're constructing them, you cast on at the bottom, go up to this point, and then start doing increases for the thumb gusset. You can see the increases there. And then you first of all knit this first finger, so you pick up along the edge and cast on some stitches, and then using DPNs or magic loop or whatever your preferred method, you knit the first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, using exactly the same technique. And then you knit the thumb. So again, just picking up stitches. For the thumb, you need to do a few reductions and things, but don't be daunted by them. If you can knit socks, you can knit gloves. Excuse me. But yeah, I made these deliberately a little bit too big because I wanted to wear them with liners underneath. So if I show you, I take these off and leave the liner on. I wear these black silk liners when it's really, really cold and where I'm out hiking and things like that. So I just wanted something that I could wear over the top of the liners. So yeah, I'm really happy with them. I did make a mistake on the second thumb. I wasn't really concentrating. We were watching television and I just picked up the stitches and started knitting. And of course, if you look at how wide that is there, you need to do some reductions before you knit the thumb, otherwise you can end up with a thumb that wide, which is what happened to me. It's no big deal, I just ripped it back and picked up the stitches again. That's the beauty of knitting with really woolly wool, it just sits there quietly and it doesn't run down. So for this I used tuku wool, tuku sock. I think I bought this skein when we went to Stockholm a couple of years ago, but this is the colourway Nila or something, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but it's Finnish wool and you get 320 metres per 100 grams, so it's a sport weight sock yarn, so it's nice and plump and squishy. It is a little bit on the scritchy side, I will admit, but I don't find I have sensitivity to that. Alpaca, yes, but scritchy lamb's wool or scritchy sheep wool, no, I have no problem with that. But it's a really nice yarn and I think it's going to wear really, really well. And after I finished knitting these, because I had quite a bit left over, I decided I was going to cast on some socks with them, which I'll show you later. But yeah, as you can see, this took less than 3/4 of a skein to make these gloves. So yeah, they're a really cute little pattern and I will enjoy wearing those when it's very, very cold. The next thing to show you is progress on the single malt sweater that I'm making for my partner. This is a lovely all over texture pattern by Maxim Sear. Which way is up? That way. And I think when I showed it to you last time I'd got down to about here. So yeah, I split for sleeves and I'm slowly working my way down the body. And it's just a nice knit. It's a 4-row repeat on the pattern, so it's pretty easy to memorise as long as you can read your knitting. And this has been screwed up in the bag for the last week, so it's looking a bit creased. But I'm really happy with this. I'm going to, following the pattern exactly for, which size am I doing? The 3rd size, and I'm using the recommended 5mm needles for it as well. And he had a little try on after I split for the sleeves. I'm really happy with it. He's happy with it. The only modification I've made is making the neck slightly shorter. He likes his neck to sit here with a little bit of t-shirt showing. So yeah, I just reduced the number of rows that I did for the ribbing. The short rows for this are in the collar at the back and it does fit really nicely. I made the cardigan version of this for him a couple of years ago as well and he's really happy with it. Other than that, it's a standard raglan construction, so nice and simple. But I do like the way that the raglan forms this this line down here. On the cardigan, the raglan follows down the side as well. So you get this nice stockinette stripe down the sides. Excuse me. Which I think is a really nice feature. But yeah, I suppose you could add that in on here as well, but I didn't really think about it at the time. But yeah, for this I'm using a good workhorse yarn again. This is West Yorkshire Spinners, the Croft. It's their Aran weight. And for this you get 166 metres per 100 grams. So I expect I'll be using 6 or 7 of those altogether. This colourway is called Laxfirth and it's just a nice, yeah, bluey grey colour that I know will act really well. I've made 3-4 different garments using this yarn and it's just a really good yarn, good price point, not too expensive and just very, very reliable. So yeah, that's the single malt for my partner. So the reason I haven't been working on the single malt is because I cast on another sweater and I am making the Felix sweater for my mother-in-law. Gosh, that's blowing out a lot. It's not quite so bright red in real life. But yeah, my mother-in-law, she asked if I could make a jumper for her and I said, yep, sure, no problem. I don't say yes to just anyone. And yeah, so I picked out the Felix because it's on a nice large gauge and I wanted something that would knit up relatively quickly, and I also didn't want to use a sort of non-superwash yarn for her because she doesn't really like the feel. She's not sensitive to yarn, but she just doesn't like the feeling of that sort of natural yarn. So I went for Drops Air for this. This particular colour is 44. It's still blowing out a lot. It's really not this sort of pillar box red in real life. It's a bit more muted. Yeah, and how many? So the recommended needle size for this is 5mm or a US 8, and you get 150 meters per 50 grams. Now the Felix pullover asks for a 6mm needle, and I swatched it. I didn't really like it. I know this isn't going to bloom that much, so I went down to a 5.5mm needle, which I'm happy with this gauge. However, the gauge for this pattern is 14 stitches in 10 centimeters, and I was getting 17 stitches in 10 centimeters, so I had to do a little bit of sweater maths. In fact, I put a link down below. There's a really lovely podcast by a lady called Megha, and her podcast is called Skeins of Dreams, but she did an excellent episode on how to work out gauge for sweaters when you are changing needle size and things like that. So anyway, I was therefore getting 3 fewer stitches than I needed per 10 centimeters, or 3 extra, sorry, per 10 centimeters, which by the time you're doing sort of 110 centimeter circumference, that's a lot of stitches that you're losing. So in order to get the correct measurements for the second size, I'm actually knitting the third size, and I also added in a couple of little body only increases as well. And I've made notes on my Ravelry, and I will update it when I finish the project as well. But by adding in that extra full repeat for this lovely eyelet pattern, and then adding in a couple of extra body only increases, I've managed to get the correct circumference that I need. And it's also the correct depth as well, because my row gauge was slightly out as well. But to be honest, when you're making a raglan, the row gauge doesn't really matter so much, because you can just keep trying it on till it fits. The stitch gauge, however, to give you that circumference, that really does matter. So yeah, don't be afraid of modifying patterns and playing around with your gauge and with your stitch count and things, because most patterns can be adapted. The only problem is when you've got then textured cables or lace work or some sort of colour work motif, then it becomes more difficult to adapt a pattern. But with a plain raglan like this, it's not really such a big deal. So yeah, so I finished the body and I picked up one of the sleeves, and I discovered I don't have any 5.5mm DPNs or short circumference needles. So yeah, I've come to a bit of a halt and I'll have to pick up some DPNs or something when I'm out and about in that size. I don't really knit on this gauge very often. My favourite needle size is 4mm, and a 3.75 to 4mm is just perfect. I really like the fabric, and yeah, it tends to be what I knit. So it's very rare that I knit something that's on this sort of larger gauge. But yeah, I'm very happy with this. I was hoping to finish it before the end of this week, but I don't think that's going to happen because of the DPN situation. But never mind, it is what it is. So yeah, Felix pullover. So the next WIP I've got to show you is with the leftover tuku wool. I'm just making a pair of basic stripy socks. So I've got the tuku wool here, and then I'm striping 2 different yarns, and whenever I'm changing the colour, I'm doing a row of knit slip just to give it a bit more interest. Don't know if you can see that, but it's a really nice low contrast stripe. I'm using some quite special to me yarn. This is Garthenor, and this is local to me back in Wales. They sell beautiful tonal yarns, all non-superwash, and just really, really lovely. This particular one is called Snowdonia Sock, and the colours that I'm using are tussock and khaki. So the mix of this is 50% Romney, 50% Hebridean, and it's all grown in South Wales, the Scottish Highlands and Southwest England. So yeah, The factory is over in West Wales. I don't think it's open to the public, but it'd be lovely to go and have a look. I'm going to Wales later on this week, so it would be nice to go for a little mooch over there, but I'm pretty sure they're not open to the public. Anyway, I'm just making, in terms of the stitch counts and construction, a basic vanilla sock with a 64 stitch cast on, and I will be doing a heel, flap and gusset, and it feels like there are ends everywhere. So that is my current handbag project, a nice little pair of woolly wool socks for me. And actually, I think it might be my first pair of non-nylon socks, because the tuku wool, yeah, none of it has any nylon in it. I've made socks with unspun before, which also doesn't have any nylon. So I'm curious to see how this wears. Yeah, I'll keep you posted and let you know how I get on with them. My final project to show you is my giant dishcloth blanket. So I wasn't going to show this to you because I haven't done any more work on it since... Oh no, I didn't show it to you. Oh yeah, somebody told me off for not showing it. But I haven't done very much on this at all. So there's a nice traditional dishcloth pattern by Very Pink Knit where you just knit two, do a yarn over and knit to the end, and just keep doing that until it's wide enough for what you want. So it's supposed to be for a dishcloth, but I've made a few blankets using this pattern, and it's just a nice mindless knit, and I do love a garter blanket. So that's where I am so far. Oh gosh, it's all creased, isn't it? I'm using my advent yarn from Het Volbeest for this, which was a Moomin themed advent, but I'm holding all of the yarns with more woolly knit, holding it with this. And if I show you the colours so far, there's been, where are they? So this is the one I haven't used yet. This was the last skein from the advent, but it's all skeined up and ready to go. There's that one. What am I using at the moment though? Ah, there it is. There's that one, and that's the one that I'm knitting at the moment. And then there's the first one, which is that one. So there are these lovely skein. Oh no, I'm sure there's another one. I lost a skein. No, I haven't lost a skein of yarn. It's here. So this was my Moomin Advent, and how gorgeous is that? That will, with the leftovers, I'm planning on making sure I've got enough left over to make a pair of socks, a little pair of stripy socks. That is really nice, isn't it? They all go together really prettily. So this was a lovely Moomin themed advent, and there were lots of little Moomin goodies in the little packages as well, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And I just want to make a big, squishy, mindless blanket, and I'm really enjoying that. So I'm knitting the first half of it with it all held with that pink woolly knit, and I'm going to knit the second half of it held with this blue woolly knit that I stole, liberated, adopted from my mum. So yeah, she had this in her stash left over from making, I think it was an anchor sweater, and she doesn't know what to do with it. So I said, I'll take it, I can use it in my blanket. So yeah, the second half will be blue. So it'll be sort of inspired by a half and half triangles wrap as well. But I don't expect I'll be doing too much work on that in the near future, just because I've got so many other projects that I want to do at the moment. So yeah, that is, I think, yeah, that's all of my current WIPs. That's it. The last thing to talk to you about are some knitting plans. So I want to cast on the leg warmers for myself, and I'll do that hopefully in the next couple of days, or I might wait. I'm going to Wales on Friday, so my parents are going away for a couple of weeks. They're flying to America to see my sister and her kids. So I'm going back to the UK to house sit for them, because they've got a little sort of small holding and pets and things like that. So I thought, you know, I'll go and house sit for you for a couple of weeks. So I need to take a project with me. I don't want to take lots of stuff because I've only got one suitcase that I'm taking with me. And I think I talked to you in the last episode about this sweater that I want to make. This is in a book called Lakeside Stitches by Ronya Hakalito, and the pattern is called the Riihi. Is there another picture in here? Yeah, there we go. With this beautiful Scandinavian inspired yoke. Absolutely gorgeous. So I want to knit that. My partner and I are going to Iceland at the beginning of March, and I really like to be able to take it with me, and I intend to wear this with hiking trousers and you know, to be that extra warm layer underneath my coat. So I'm going to make it slightly oversized, and yeah, I've got my yarn here to show you for it. So the main colour is going to be this, and I've got 5 skeins of this. And this is a beautiful Danish yarn. It is Danish, isn't it? Yeah, beautiful Danish yarn in the colour medium olive. And yeah, this is going to be the main body of the sweater. Now, I also have 2 skeins of this gorgeousness, also from the WE Yarn company, called Jaffa Cake. And this is on Ross's Dorka worsted base, which is 33% Blueface Leicester, 33% Falklands Merino, and 33% Svartblas. And you get 100 grams per 200 meters. So yeah, it's a good DK. Oh, I forgot to tell you what this was. I think it's just... yeah, it's a mixture of Gotland and Falklands Merino as well. So these two should play together really nicely. The pattern calls for 3 colours, I think. 1 second. Yeah, the pattern calls for, 3 colours. The main colour and 2 contrast colours. But I want to use 4 colours in it. I want to add in a little bit extra. And I'm going to be making, I think I'll probably go for the 5th size in this, which is going to give me a bust circumference of 126.5 centimetres or 50.75 inches. This is a nice size inclusive pattern. It goes up to 156.5 centimetres or 62.75 inches. This is a lovely book actually. There are some really pretty things in there. I'm just really bad at knitting things from books. I'm good at buying books, but not good at knitting things from them. Anyway, so my first 2 colours are those 2. And then this is my 3rd colour, which this is Peer Gynt from Sandnesgarn. It's a nice Norwegian wool, and it is just 100% wool, 91 meters per 50 grams. So this should behave very nicely with those 2. I mean, those look lovely together already. I don't know if I need to add in another colour, but this is the 4th colour that I was thinking of adding. This is another Norwegian yarn from Hellesvåg Varda. I bought this in Oslo a couple of years ago, and it's just 100% Norwegian yarn, wool. It doesn't, I don't think it says exactly what it is. But again, this is 100 meters per 200 grams, so a good DK. So yeah, what do you think? Do you think I should just stick with those 3 colours? Or shall I add in that as well? I don't know if I'm going to lose some of the contrast from this darker one now that I'm seeing it on the screen. So it's definitely those 3. But I might add in that one as well. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Would you add in a 4th colour, or would you keep it simple? I'm not sure what to do. Anyway, so I've got a bag full of yarn to take with me, so I can't take lots of projects with me to the UK. I'm going to be spending 3 weeks there, so if I work on a couple of pairs of socks plus this jumper, I think that should be enough to keep me out of trouble. But yeah, that's all that I think that I want to talk about today. I'm itching to cast this on. I really, really want to cast it on, but I've got other things I need to do, and I'm busy for the next couple of days. But anyway, that's all I need to talk to you about knitting wise today. Other than that, I've got some irresponsible purchases to show you as well, but I've hidden them from myself underneath this mound of yarn. Oh, here they are. I went to my local yarn shop on the weekend and picked up 4 skeins of this gorgeous superwash merino. It's soft, it's squishy, it's lovely. I've used it a few times. I made an all over colour work jumper for my partner a couple of years ago, and it's just really soft and really nice to wear. It's called Landhaus, and it's from Atelier Zitron, made here in Germany. And can I tell you what's in it? It's 80% merino and 20% polyamide. So it is a sock yarn. And I also made a pair of Colourwork Stormtrooper socks a couple of years ago for a friend as well with the leftovers. But each ball is 50 grams and you get 200 meters. So I have got 4 of these, and I'm going to weave a scarf as a gift for one of my partner's colleagues. So yeah, I've got so much to do but so little time. I'm not doing any test knits at the moment. Normally I've got at least one test knit on the go, but I'm determined to knit the things that I want to knit this year and use my books, use my stash, try and minimise the amount of extra yarn that I'm buying, especially as I've got like big trips coming up, like Iceland. Let's be honest, I'm going to come back with yarn from Iceland. It's going to happen. So yeah, I'm not doing any test knits at the moment. Never say never. Oh gosh, I was so tempted. I got an email from, I'm on the subscriber list for John Arbon, and they did a little test call for their annual. Oh, I was so tempted. There was a really nice vest in there. But anyway, there are other things that I want to do. So other than that, I don't have anything else to show you today. So yeah, I hope that you're having a wonderful time knitting and crafting as well. Also, I should say about the mal, I'm reliably informed that you can do cables in crochet as well. So if you want to enter with crochet projects or whatever, you're more than welcome. It's not just exclusively for knitting. It's a make along, not a knit along. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you knit. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me, and I wish you a very, very lovely week, and I will see you in 2 weeks from Wales. Take care. Bye bye. you.